for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent, and all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in men, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world, millions of despairing men, women, and little children, victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world, a decent world, that will give men a chance to work, that will give youth a future and old age a security. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise. They never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Now let us fight to fulfill that promise. Let us fight to free the world, to do away with national barriers, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight for a world of reason, a world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all unite!
Now you can go global rapidly. You can listen to us from anywhere in the world at www.rapidfm965.com. Plus, you can get social and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and other social media platforms at Rapid965FM.
965FM.
On WhatsApp, it's 091 60 333 965.
Let's talk politics, dynamics, and permutations.
It is a concern that we have for our country, Nigeria. This is beyond partisan politics. It's unfortunate. And these are the kind of people who say they are leaders of this country. What example are they showing as leaders of the country?
Let's keep you abreast with the happenings in the polity.
Nigeria is on drink and on oxygen. And how can we get out of this?
I am an employer of the president. I pay the president's salary. I pay the bills of his family. And he must protect me.
Standpoint. The center of all talks of politics.
Standpoint, Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. on Rapid 96.5 FM, Umahia.
All Nigerian is more Nigerian than any Nigerian.
Patients in public hospitals in Abia State
have continued to lament and continue to bear the brunt of the ongoing strike by the Nigerian Medical Association, NMA, in the state. Now, reports suggest that a total compliance with the NMA directive at the Federal Medical Center, FMC, and Abia Specialist and Diagnostic Hospital in Umuahia, the association in Abia had on December the 9th declared a strike, but on January 10th, 2023, declared the strike total and indefinite. The body announced the strike because of unpaid salary arrears of 25 and 13 months for Abia State University Teaching Hospital and Hospital Management Board workers, respectively. Now, patients have said that they've traveled from Aba to FMC to receive prompt medical care, but met with disappointment as a result of the strike. So far, a visit to the Abia Specialist and Diagnostic Hospital showed that the health facility, which is usually a beehive of activity, has been deserted. And a nurse at the hospital who pleaded anonymity for fear of victimization said that the hospital was no longer admitting patients. She said that children's male and female wards and the accident and emergency unit were empty as a result of the doctor's strike. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Joe Osuji, has said that the government had done its best. Hence, it is now left for the NMA to respond and adequately oblige the efforts of government. Osuji, however, did not say what the government had done afresh since the strike began to warrant a response from the NMA. Well, this morning, on Standpoint, Tuesday's edition to be precise, we will be looking at why Abia doctors can't call off the ongoing strike and how effective the strike action has been thus far. Hopefully, I will be joined in the studio by Dr. Isaiah Abali, the NMA Abia State Chairman, and Dr. Clement Ife Koronye, who is the Public Relations Officer of the NMA of Abia State. I am told both gentlemen are within Umuahia. They came in from Aba, and they should be joining me shortly. So we'll take a break. When we come back, hopefully both doctors will be on ground and we'll begin to have this conversation. Why Abia doctors can't call off the strike? Has it yielded the right results so far for them? And then, has government been forthcoming as far as their own side of the development is concerned? That will be the conversation on Standpoint in just a moment. To stay with us.
Celebrating your family and friends has become cheap like a cup of tea, easy as ABC, and rapid like it should be. You can send birthday greetings and goodwill messages on Rapid FM for just 1,000 naira. Other events like weddings, child dedication, housewarmings, religious and government functions go for even less, 500 naira. Now, your loved ones have no excuse not to celebrate you rapidly on your day because all they have to do is visit our website at www.rapidfm965.com/request or call 07049 220965.
onye nke m cherekwa ka m gwa gị o ebe ọwụ na Konak Foundation efurula ntụtụta n'ahụ ka dịrịrị ọhaneze mma ha ejikọ n'aka ha na ndị Faith Care USA iwetara ọhaneze nke ndị oyibo na-akpọ free medical outreach agwọmọrịa n'efu ewo anya na-eme gị pinyo ezo na-akụ gị komkom ị nọ na njikere maka owo agwọm ụmụaka enyemọgwụ nakwa ndị a ga-eme operation n'efu na ndị ọzọ ọnụnụ karịa ibe ya o. Nke a ga-adị site n'ụbọchị 22 ruo na Sọnde ụbọchị 29 nke ọnwa Eprel 2023 na Madonna Hospital, Aba Road, Umuahia, Abia State. Ọnụnụ karịa ibe ya o. Echefukwala na ndị niile a ga-eme ọpreshọn n'efu ga-abịacha na Sọnde ụbọchị 22 maka nnwale site n'elekere 10 nke ụtụtụ ruo kweri n'elekere 12 nke ehihie. Nke a wụkwa free of charge o. Fee ọsị chai ngwa kọtụrụ anyị n'ekwentị na 091-324-44444 ma ọ bụrụ na ị nwere ihe mgbagwoju anya nke ọbụla. Konak Foundation nakwa Fetkia USA, ịgbanwe ndụ akwa mgbasị ike ọhaneze.
Make you paint your house with Cyclops. The beauty go last year because Cyclops.
My guy, which kind paint have you used? We go make my house go well.
Now Cyclops paint.
Paint we go make my house shine.
Cyclops paint.
What about paint we go last for plenty years?
Now still Cyclops paint. Cyclops paint. Now we gon' get paint when done with both national and international award on top paint matters.
I beg, where them day?
Them 10 nationwide. Cyclops paint get one open get what they call Cyclops satin paint. If dirty touch the paint, you will use water and soap take clean and cha-cha. Cyclops paint get other ones like emulsion paint, test coat, gloss, sack flash car paint, matte, industrial marine coating, red oxide primer, aluminium, screening paint, auto varnish, and other barbarous products. For that correct beauty, paint where you need na Cyclops paint. Their price na shipping. For more information, call
0701 855 2224.
Let's talk politics, dynamics, and permutations.
It is a concern that we have for our country, Nigeria. This is beyond partisan politics. It's unfortunate. And these are the kind of people who say they are leaders of this country. What example are they showing as leaders of the country?
Let's keep you abreast with the happenings in the polity.
Nigeria is on drink and on oxygen. And how can we get out of this?
I am an employer of the president. I pay the president's salary. I pay the bills of the family. And he must protect me.
Standpoint. The center of all talks of politics.
Standpoint, Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. on Rapid 96.5 FM, Umuahia.
Oh, Nigerian is more Nigerian than any Nigerian.
Thanks for staying with us. It's still Standpoint on Rapid 96.5 FM, the sound of your city. And if you're just tuned in, well, good morning and welcome to Tuesday's edition of the show. Well, today we will be looking at a subject that has been ongoing. In fact, it's running into months. Anybody who has visited either the FMC or the Abia State Specialist Hospital will by now understand that the health sector in the state is in some chaotic situation. Well, this morning I am joined by two gentlemen, the chairman, NMA Abia State, Dr. Isaiah Abali. Good morning, Doctor. It's nice to have you join us this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
And of course, the public relations officer of the NMA Abia State, Dr. Clement Ife Koroye. I hope I got that right.
Good morning, Presenter. Good morning, Abia. Well, you fair attempt.
Fair attempt.
Fair
okay.
attempt.
Fair attempt. Well, it's good to have you gentlemen in the studio this morning. Let me start with you, Dr. Abali. This strike started, a warning strike started last year. And by January, it was declared an indefinite strike. What's the situation as we speak?
Thank you, the presenter, the moderator. The strike started December 9th. It was not warning. It started ab initio as an indefinite strike.
Okay.
The issue surrounding the strike is well known to everybody, mainly about salary and generally about welfare of the healthcare workers in Abia State, particularly our members, the doctors. So when we declared the strike, before we declared the strike, we made every effort to see that the strike did not hold, because we love our people. We want our people to access quality health care from the government hospitals. Unfortunately, due to lack of insensitivity in some quarters, we had no option than to proceed on this indefinite strike. And the strike had been on since, but at the point, especially during the election time, to some extent, we calmed down to allow, because it was beginning to be tagged political, and we know we are never political right from the outset. We made it clear to everybody. We calmed down so that people could, we give people breathing space. Again, during the Christmas period, we didn't call it off per se, but we just told our members to relax and render services, because we know a lot of travels, people may come back, fall sick, they need somewhere to be treated. We don't want casualties just because we are on strike. So during the Christmas period, we decided to back down small to make sure that people access healthcare services. As it stands today, the strike is still on. We have tried to contact the government after the election, because at a point they kept anything we said, they say, can't you see election? And now the election is over. So we want government to still come back and do their duty. We read in papers, in the news media, that the sitting governor is still the sitting governor until May 29th. So we believe he should be able to do the needful, still do his duties as the governor.
But the government has claimed that they, before now, when you were still having talks, that they had made their position clear, and they had told you what they would bring to the table in terms of their own quota, but that it is the NMA that has refused to see reason. How true is that?
It's not true at all. When you go to negotiation, if you don't go with a mindset that it's either you or nobody. Somebody you were owing 26 months or 24 months, and you are talking about giving him 2 months to start work. It's just like somebody owing you 26,000 naira, and then they bring 2,000 and say, manage this one. You will not be happy.
But isn't that a sign that they were ready to begin the process of seeing how to offset the outstanding salaries?
We had talks long with them, long before now. That had been the pattern. Take 2 months, we will find a way of putting back the remaining. Eventually, once you take that 2 months, they will leave you. You can't even see the chief executive again, no matter the effort you make. So that's why we say, okay, it appears government hospitals are working, but they are not really working. Because when somebody is being owed for a long time, he cannot take care of himself, he cannot take care of his family. The implication is that he will not be dedicated to his work. So we told them, you give people good thing, something that sounds reasonable, so that you strengthen the hands of chief executives of these places. Whoever else will be punished. Otherwise, somebody may just tell you, I'm going to look for money to feed my family. I'm going to look for money to pay for my school fees, children's school fees. That's why I'm not coming to work today. And we are all human beings. You have pity on that person that had not been paid, is going out to beg for money, or his children had not eaten. You have pity on him. Tomorrow he will repeat it, and that person joins. But if you are paying people, such excuses cannot be tolerated, because the person knows his salary and he's receiving it. If it's not enough, that is his problem. But now you tell somebody, I'll pay you this amount, and he accepts and you don't pay. So that's why we are in this problem right now.
Dr. Clem, I know you wanted to react to that question, but our people say at all, na in bad pass.
Okay.
2-3 months, and then let's keep talking and see how we can augment the balance. Is that a bad posture?
I might even help you with not only at all. This, people also say that have bread better pass chin chin.
True.
But in this particular case, it is strategic, systematic. It was Mussolini that was famously said to have demonstrated to his generals. You get the chicken, pluck the feathers, and when it's just pitiable, throw a few crumbs at it, and it will follow you willingly. That has been what has been happening with Abia State for Yes. How did we get to 26 months? You got to a time that people are asking, how did they not own you for 26 months and you are still coming to work? It was not a whole lump sum. You owe for 8 months. You go, you want to go on strike. They'll call you, throw 1 month at you. You go back to work with the promises of, okay, we'll start paying. In fact, they'll tell you they will pay 2 months, 1 current month, 1 later month, one arrears, 1 current month, 1 arrears. None of it. All the signature of the agreement, none of it. And it got to a boil. And we're saying that, okay, this government was about coming to an end, and they knew I was going to come in. You want to burden the new government with 26 months salary arrears. And he will come and tell you that, oh, sorry, I want to start on the clean sheet. So we gave him an opportunity. And we say, okay, our initial listing was, okay, pay us half of what you're owing to enter into a negotiation. Then you throw crumbs at people and say, okay, we'll give you 2 months out of 26 months. And then we're like, no, that's not enough. How can we? And you were like, it was so annoying that they told you, come and take the 2 months now. It might be off the table. We might to do something else. People that their own salaries.
Yes, it is your salary. You've earned it.
Yes.
But isn't there the consideration that government is always saddled with so much?
Yeah, and we're willing to come down from our demand of paying legitimate demands of paying half of what you owe. But 2 months was beyond ridiculous, and I could tell you based on previous experience, there is no trust. No matter what is signed, based on previous experiences that have been signed, signatures and agreement, when you collect that 2 months, that is the end of it.
Now, let me ask this 24, 25 months, is it purely owed by the Ikpeazu administration?
Yes.
Or was there a carryover?
Yes, it was. My chairman wants to...
What happened is... the last salary paid before the present government came into power was May 11th, 2015. And that May 11th, with payment of that salary, means 7 months salary arrears was handed over.
Was handed over to the Victor Ikpeazu administration.
Now, when he entered, he managed to accumulate 4 months in his own tenure and join it, and then cleared it over 4 months again. So when he cleared it, if you listen to him talking, he will say, I clear 11 months arrears. That 11 months was 7 months of old administration and 4 months of his own administration.
With the bailout fund.
With the bailout fund. It was specific. And people are saying, okay, if you had come and say, okay, I don't want to pay you what the other government owed, and you keep paying us, we would have been owed only 7 months. So you don't keep telling us you cleared the arrears and then accumulated so much more. Now the implication of that he cleared means the whole 20-something months now is being owed by him, because he had already cleared the arrears with bailout fund. So the implication is this whole money was being owed by him. And mind you, he cleared it by December of 2015. By another December of 2016, he has started owing that 7 months again. Then the implication is that he only paid 5 months throughout 2016.
Okay.
And I want us to remember that the bailout money was given specifically to clear debts that are being owed as at that time.
Obviously, he was not just owing the doctors. He must have been owing other things. So, so he had to definitely spread it across for it to go round. Okay. Now, what about the accusation, Dr. Abali, that doctors have not been loyal to serving the people? That most of the doctors own private clinics, and services that should be rendered to Abians have been diverted to their private clinics, and hence they are making more money in their private clinics and then starving public hospitals of the services and funds that should naturally accrue to them. How do you react to this?
Yes, a lot of doctors of truth own private hospitals, but the law or private clinics, the law recognizes it that you can own a private clinic.
But isn't that a conflict of interest?
It's
that
not.
You own a private clinic and you are also in the service of the state.
Yeah, it's not a conflict of interest. because you are required to be in your private setting by the time you are not on duty or at close of work. You are not supposed to give government hour to your private setting. So now we have checks and balances in whatever we do. If people leave their work and go to their private setting at the time they should be at their work, it is the duty of the relevant authorities to punish the person, to bring the person to book. Now, if Dr. A owns private clinic and he never comes to work and you leave him, Dr. B does same, Dr. C will definitely join. So it is the duty of the chief executive or the relevant authorities to take care of that. It cannot be an excuse for not paying people. Now, let's look at a very good scenario, sir.
But why shouldn't it be an excuse for not paying if you're not delivering the service that you expected to deliver and you're focused on your private business?
No, that's not true. People deliver the services.
If I'm not here to do the job that I agreed to do, Rapid Broadcast Network is not obligated to pay me for services I haven't rendered.
Now, is it all the doctors? That's the question. Are you going to owe even a gate man because a doctor owns clinic? Everybody is owed across board. Nobody is paid. If there are, say, 100 doctors working in an establishment and 20 or 30, because it's not everybody that owns the clinic, why do you owe the others? If at all that is a very genuine reason or genuine reason, you should isolate those that own the clinic and even tell them, one or two, it's either you close your clinic and work if that is a local law, because federal law allows people to own certain categories of doctor to own clinics. Now, if Abia State domesticate that law and make it that no person working with government should own a private clinic, fine and good. You should tell whoever owns a private to close it and focus on government. Otherwise, you sack him. You don't allow him render services at the end of the day. You now remind him. Just take yourself, for instance. Assuming you decide to open a supermarket, and when you close work, you go to your supermarket, and you come here in the morning, do your job, and in the evening, you run your supermarket. And at the end of the day, Rapid Network, Broadcast Network tells you that maybe you are making money from your supermarket. Therefore, we cannot pay you. You won't be happy. Because they should have told you that that supermarket you have is affecting your work or whatever. And then, it's either you choose one of the two. Let go of the supermarket or you face. So that excuse does not hold water. And they know. This is not the only excuse. When we get them here, they shift that excuse to another excuse. So many excuses along the line.
Dr. Clement, they say when two elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. Abians are suffering. Abians are going to hospital. They can't get treatment. Sadly, lives may have been lost as a result of this strike. How do you intend to regain the confidence of Abians in the health system? Let's assume between now and May 29th, the Ikpeazu administration is able to clear some backlog of these outstanding salaries. How do you intend to regain the confidence of Abians in the Abia State health system?
Okay, thank you very much. This emotional and it might sound a bit insensitive. It has always been put to the doctors, look at lives, save lives. Meanwhile, the primary responsibility of government is to its citizens, the safety and well-being of the citizens, and it's not being posed to government. It is the same saving of life that brought us to 26 months. Now the doctor's life is actually the ones to be saved. Doctors are human beings. You don't, because you're a doctor, get free services in schools, go and buy fuel for free, tell your landlord, oh, I'm a doctor, and I say, okay. Many doctors are being chased out. I can tell you that in Aba, many people, you tell them, oh, you want to rent a house, you're a doctor. Oh, you're working with Abia State government. I'm sorry, I don't have the strength for that, to ask for money up and down. Please go. They're being withdrawn from schools. Doctors' lives are in danger. I personally expected that when this strike happened, many Abians will be up in the streets, march to government house, pay our doctors. We are not. You see, we are putting the cart before the horse. We are not getting services. Our people are dying. Pay these people their salaries. But no, it's always being turned to the doctors. Well, I want to assure you that Abians know the competence of her doctors. They know the reason why they are not getting services, because the hospitals are shut, and immediately these doors are open, they will come and get the services that they've always been getting. If we had a responsive governor, nothing would have stopped before now.
Now, is it solely because government? Where do we draw the line when it comes to the value of life, especially as it pertains to the life of Abians? Yes, the government may seem to be insensitive, but what about the people?
Okay. Whose life? That's the question I ask you. Whose life?
I just said it. The lives of Abians.
Are doctors not Abians? What about the lives of doctors?
The doctors. The doctors are Abians, but they took an oath that puts them above everybody, that they would, if need be, do whatever it takes to save the lives of others.
I'm sorry, I want to refer to the revised physician's oath that was made a number of about 10 years ago, in 2007. Yes. Which also says that the doctor is to take care of his own self, his health, to be able to give services. A dead doctor is of no use to anybody. A seeking doctor is of no use to anybody. In fact, it might even be detrimental to the people. A doctor that is not healthy is like a virus. He can go there and, by his, whatever we want to call it, affect lives. I will tell you how pathetic it is. I will not mention any names. We went to see a doctor that was to go in for a surgery. When we went to see him, this doctor is a respected doctor, and he turned and looked at us and said, "Oh, chairman, please talk to them, let them pay our salary, our arrears. He's going to borrow money to do his own surgery. Does his life not matter?"
Okay, Dr. Abali. So, as it stands, what has the strike yielded in terms of results for the enemy in Abia State?
Well, the strike has yielded a lot. One of the objectives for going on strike at this time, even though they tagged it political, is that since this administration owed this money, this administration should clear it before going. That was our intention. Now, everybody is fully aware that we are being owed. Now, let me tell you, an institution in this Abia State was owed about 30 months, and what they did was to pay them December, and announced that they have been paid December. And when NLC, led by Ajero, came to Abia State, that institution, that was in March, that institution, they were accounting that they are owing them 2 months, January and February. Now, doctors, when you hear 26 months, it's not as if the thing, they have skipped some months. When they want to pay, they pay you, maybe now, they can start to pay April salary. So what happens to March? What happens to... So,
have you been able to bring your national body into this?
Yes, our national body came precisely on December 22nd. They came. And we made effort for the national president to see the governor then. But governor was in Aba, and the national president said, well, he is here to see the doctors precisely to strengthen the strike, not to really negotiate with government, that the government know what to do. If they are owing, they should pay. If they are not owing, they should come out and say, we are not owing, and give reasons why they are not owing. Not when we go to negotiation with them, they tell us, we are owing you, we know we are owing you. But sometimes we hear in the news media, we are not owing anybody. Is it not contradictory? So we have to let everybody know. I believe the new governor, the governor-elect, is fully aware now, although we are still making effort to see him, to pass it on to him that, look, we are being owed, no matter whatever is written in the handover note, because we don't know what will be written in the handover note, but no matter what is written, we are being owed. And if nothing is done, I mean, healthcare system in Abia State is already grounded, and if you notice the figures coming out, if you have been following the statistics, you know that the statistics are worsening, which we don't want as people. We want the statistics to get better in Abia State. Healthcare indices.
Absolute used to be one of the go-to places.
Yes,
teaching hospitals in Nigeria. In Nigeria, not in the southeast, in Nigeria. People used to come from other regions to come to Absolute.
If Absolute is so good, shouldn't Absolute be able to generate enough funds to also cater for some of, as to cushion the effect of some of these outstanding salaries that doctors are being owed? Doesn't that also suggest mismanagement on the part of some of these hospitals? If these hospitals are offering services and they are, as you have called them, go-to hospitals, meaning they should also be able to generate some revenue that should be able to give some allowances to doctors and cushion this effect.
Okay. Well, I think it's actually a myopic view when you just compare a teaching hospital to just providing services. That is what a hospital clinic does. There are different things that a teaching hospital does, including research, including training of
the question
doctors.
Here, Dr. Clement,
yes.
does Absolute not generate money?
Can I click on that? Absolute generates money.
So where does that money go?
Yes. One, I am not a management staff, so I will not stand for management. But the little I know that Absolute generate money, and the government gives subvention, as they have always mentioned.
Beautiful.
Absolute completes that money and pay to the staff, except maybe probably when for whatever reason it's not working. That's when government is expected to pay all the salaries. But as long as Absolute works, and I know that every year, the chief executive, being the CMD, goes to House of Assembly, defend the budget, and there he is asked, okay, the total budget is so. You are going to generate so out of that total budget, and then the budget is passed. So what now happens? Is it that Absolute is not generating their own part?
Why I ask this question is that there should be some level of accountability on the part of the doctors as well, who run this establishment. And I mean, because I think strike actions are a bit old-fashioned, and they don't really, if we look at the history of strike actions across board, across Nigeria, they have not really yielded the kind of results. Just a few months ago, lecturers called off their strike, and they're still raising dust over certain issues that should have been settled or should have been agreed upon. So that in itself tells you that strike action. So I'm wondering, if you have medical institutions that naturally are giving world-class service, and I want to use your word, Dr. Clement, number one go-to place for medical service. Those medical services should be placed at a premium, and they should generate funds to augment whatever government also gives. And that should also be able to, ameliorate some of these complaints that doctors are having. But if there is no accountability on that side, and you feel everything should land at the doorstep of government, are we really looking at this issue transparently?
Yes, it might interest you to know that during the first tenure of this administration, that government through the Ministry of Finance brought, do I call them consultants, that collect money for Absolute. Every dime paid into the account of Absolute, government knew about it at that stage. So, and that consultant was collecting a certain percentage of that money too for the services they were rendering.
Do you have evidence of this?
Of the consultant or of
every transaction that involved the consultant and Absolute?
I don't have the details. The management may be able to tell you, but the then Commissioner for Finance, I'm very, very sure, brought it. And people were paying through that consultant people. What happened is that they will go, those people will generate receipt, you take it to the bank and pay. Not that they collect the cash. You take it to the bank and pay. So they have the records. So bank does not collect what they don't.
Is that still the scenario till
No,
when the strike action commenced?
I don't think so. So I don't know what happened along the line. But they were collecting. But even at that time, salaries were still being owed. Even at that, what I think the main issue here is the political will. We have sat down hours of which he was discussing with the government, and at the end they will get convinced and tell us that you people have very sound argument. Therefore, your salaries will be paid henceforth. Before you know it, they pay 1 month, skip 2 months. You go back, they will tell you somebody came and convinced them, telling them that ABSU should generate enough money to cater for itself. So does it mean we'll be moving back and forth? I gave an instance of a similar sister teaching hospital in Enugu here called Esut Park Lane. If you go there now, Esut Park Lane does not have base space. Everywhere is filled. Yet, I don't know the formula, but government sends the convention to pay their salaries, over 200 million naira every month. And the CMD of Esut Park Lane does not have to go to commissioner or accountant general to get the money. But here, what happens is that almost every day, if you go to ABSU now, they will tell you the CMD had gone to Omai to meet either commissioner for health, commissioner for finance, accountant general, before and beg them before salaries could be paid. What time does he have to run the hospital if he's always going to Omai to look for the salary to be paid? So the narrative has to change. If we remain the old order, this place will not work.
Okay, good. Now, I'm happy that you've said the narrative has to change. Other than strike action, what else are you bringing to the table? What workable solutions, structures, systems are you suggesting, both to the incumbent and the incoming government, to be able to ensure that this matter becomes a thing of the past?
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I want to disagree with you that you said strike actions don't ever work in Nigeria. Everything that there is an association called the National Association of Resident Doctors, the biggest body of doctors in Nigeria. Everything that we have gotten from government has been a product of struggle. Everything, to the commerce and every other. Apparently, Nigerian government, you might need some level of struggle to get what you want from them. Well, I'm not an advocate of strike in the first place. Just want to disabuse what you said just now. The fact that they dealt with ASU the way they dealt with is not relevant in the total scheme of things. When you look at all that we have gotten so far from government, both from the salary increase, the commerce, even still advocating that more should be given to the to health in Nigeria and so on. So, your question. You can do all you can. You can give out well-articulated thoughts, write them, project it, call them to a meeting, decide until you have a political will to implement it. Nigeria signed, among the charter of countries that signed, that at least 15% of the budget should go to health. The highest that we ever done was during the other administration. We are only hovering around 4 point something out of the total. And you expect that this will be enough for health. You're talking about situations where countries are 1 doctor to 600.
You're talking about it.
Yeah, so if you do all you can.
That is still walloping between being developing and evolving. So naturally, and then let's not forget, I think we need to be factual. Yes, the current administration under President Muhammadu Buhari has basically borrowed all through its dispensation. So if we're borrowing, and we're borrowing to deal with capital projects, we're borrowing to pay salaries, we're borrowing, I mean, is it logical that we continue, that the government, just to be able to make civil servants, doctors, everybody happy, that it continues to borrow and throw the country into indebtedness?
Okay, I think you are just, how will I put it, cutting too much of slack, overcompensating. Actually, the government knew about this and signed it.
The government signed it.
Health is priority.
The government signed it. Everything is priority.
Yeah.
Everything is priority. Everything is priority.
So health is not part of the priority.
I said everything is priority.
Sir, you have to be alive for anything to matter
Not
to you.
just
You see, the same way you are fighting for the health sector. It's the same way the lecturers are fighting. They will tell you education is key.
Yes.
Education is power.
Yes.
Education is this.
Yes.
Education is that. Same way teachers would advocate. Every sector advocates for some level of importance. But the question I asked, which you haven't answered, it's not whether it is political will. The question is, are you bringing workable, preferable solutions to the table other than constantly put up a strike action because you feel that is the only thing government will respond to?
Very wrong. We have always put up workable action plans before the government, but the implementation has never been there. It's always a last resort. A strike is not, as opposed to what you said, it's not the only option. It's not the first option. It's always a last resort. When all negotiations, all leaning over backwards have failed, that is when you say, okay, sorry, we are down in tools until you address this particular matter. So always, it's not who wants to run and go on strike. No. It's always the last option. Strike is always the last option. When you have discussed and discussed, do you know how long we discussed after this? It got to a time that even National felt that we were foot dragging. Because they gave us that mandate long ago. We came back and we met the...
because when your national president comes and says, I came to see the doctors, not necessarily because I want to have a tete-a-tete with the number one citizen of the state.
Yes.
It suggests a posture.
No.
It suggests a posture.
You know that the national president before this, they have just two-year tenure.
Yes.
Had come and made the same government. Spent time, our national president then, Professor Innocent Oja, MNI, he spent time, explained to government. Now, there and then, the governor said, we will pay the doctors 6 to 9 months. Professor Oja was happy, visibly happy, and even blamed the doctors that maybe we didn't know how we were putting the message across. That's why we have not been paid. That thing never saw the light of the day. That 6 to 9 months never saw the light of the day. We followed it up anyhow we can, at lower level, at higher level, at the end of the day. That 6 months will come in, they pay, you pay for almost 8 months. If they pay this month, I skip 2 months. When they pay in 2 months, they say we have paid you 2 months. It's remaining 4 months. Is that when you tell somebody I pay you 6 months? Is that what you mean? Maybe over 1 year. And remember, the person is still working. It's not as if you are offsetting something that is static. Every month counts and adds to the.
Okay, Dr.
Okay,
Bali,
but let me clarify that
this
statement you said about the national president. He came to see the doctors. He had a meeting fixed with the doctors in Omaha. When he came, information got to the governor and they told him that he should come to Aba to see them. And he explained that if I come to Aba to see you, I won't be able to have the meeting that I came with the doctors to have. Maybe even efforts were made that, okay, after the meeting, we will see the governor. He never made the light of day. In fact,
wasn't there the possibility that maybe if he met, maybe that might have changed?
He came to meet the doctors.
He
was given a national mandate by the National Executive Council in Asaba to come and meet the doctors. In fact, he flew from Abuja because he was in Abuja to negotiate something. He flew from Abuja to come the day before to meet the doctors. And that meeting had to hold.
All right. It's been quite a conversation. I'm sure Abians have listened with keen interest because this is an area that touches them and touches them deeply. And we can only hope that at some point that probably before the end of this current administration, that the Victor Ikpeazu-led administration will find some workable solution to this strike and bring it to an end. And then hopefully the incoming government will take off from where this administration leaves off, and then further progress will be made in the Abia State health sector. So at this point, I really want to say a big thank you to Dr. Abali and of course Dr. Clement for making our time to be part of the show. And we do hope that a solution is found so this strike action can come to an end.
It's a pleasure. Yeah, it's a pleasure. We hope so too. We have our position paper that we are going to give to the incoming government. So we don't just keep quiet. Our position paper, the moment we see him, we give him our position paper, and if he calls us for further talks, we will explain to him how it will work. And we believe that if he works with our Abia State health sector will see a change.
Thank you so much. And a special thank you to everyone else who are tuned in to be part of today's edition of Standpoint on Rapid 96.5. Trust us, as always, to keep our searchlight beamed on developments across the state, and of course, bring them to the front burner, as we like to say here, and see how we can possibly bring workable solutions to dealing with some of these issues. Tomorrow will be another day, and of course we will be back same time, same frequency, 96.5, and that's why we remain the sound of your city. I am Nkamian John, the beloved, also known as the controversial, saying keep it locked on Rapid 96.5, and at the top of the hour it will be Newslight. Do stay with us.
Let's talk politics, dynamics, and permutations.
It is a concern that we have for our country, Nigeria. This is beyond partisan politics.